If I had to move today as a black woman over 40 to another country, what steps would I take? What would I focus on? And that is what I'm going to show you today. Today I'm going to give you the step-by-step of what you should be thinking about when you are moving. Now this step that I'm giving you is the very same things that I take my collective through, my private clients through. We all use these same steps, and these are the steps that I also use to move. So when you're thinking about it, what I hear first all the time as I'm talking to people and I see them moving around the globe is they focus on country first. And yes, you are going to live in a different place. You should know the country, or at least know something about it before you go. But that is not the sole thing that you should focus on, or I would even say not even the most important thing. I know no one probably will agree with me on that, but I'm going to tell you the country is not the most important thing. Think about it. You are coming from a country now. Is it the worst country that exists? Absolutely not. But something about that country no longer vibes with you or jives with you or whatever the reason is. There is a clear reason why you don't want to be in that country anymore. So it's not necessarily that the country is such a bad place. It's something about you that says, I have to get out of there. And so that's why I'm saying it's not the country. I have lived in some countries, and I am telling you that people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you lived there. And I loved it. The water didn't run, the electricity wasn't stable, but I'm telling you, it was one of my favorite countries. We had a great time. I love the people, I love the culture, I love the food. So it's not just always about the country. The country itself, I wasn't too cool with, but the people I love, and it made me want to stay there. So don't look at your country first. Another mistake I see people do is they don't plan their money. They just jump there. They don't know how much it's going to cost. They don't know what the different costs are, and they just jump in there. So that's another mistake I see people make. And also, they're not really emotionally ready. And when I say emotionally ready, let me tell you, it can be really lonely living in another country. It can be frustrating living in another country, especially where you are thinking you're speaking English and they don't understand a word you're saying. So don't think, because I hear a lot of you say, oh, I want to go to an English-speaking country. Yes, you are speaking English, they are speaking English, but are they speaking American English? Because that is a difference. When you go someplace and they say, oh, could you go on the queue? And you're like, what's the queue? Yeah, they want you to get online. When you go somewhere and they're saying to you, where's the loo? And you're like, loo is what? Yeah, they're trying to ask you where the restroom is or the bathroom. So there is a major difference in English where you're going. Or they can't even understand what you're saying, and you can't understand what they're saying, and you're all speaking English. That can cause frustration. And it's unexpected frustration around that, because you were thinking, hey, I moved to this English-speaking country. Why can't I understand them? Why can't they understand them? Emotionally, being by yourself, especially if you travel alone, even if you travel with a spouse or a partner, you will find that you start to have some sense of loneliness because your immediate circle of friends didn't travel with you. So girls' night is not happening for you. You have to build a new circle of friends. And it's not that easy to build a new circle of friends in another country. I used to always tell people, when I was living somewhere, that everybody would come and, people would say, oh, you have so many friends. And I said, I don't. Yes, I know a lot of people. And yes, they come and ask me to go out and we hang out. But I also know I was not their first choice, because I know their first choice was their friends that they grew up with, or they could speak in their local language. Who wants to spend the whole night speaking another language that is not your own? Not most people. They rather speak their native language when they go out to have a great time. And so that also kind of is a hindrance to friendship. All the friends I met, yes, they spoke English fluently, but they used to always joke with me that even on the phone, they couldn't understand what I was saying. So the English conversations were only great when they were in person. So I want you to think about emotionally, you may be lonely, you may miss your family when you're going there, you may become frustrated when you can't find some of the things that you're looking for that you thought were going to be there. So there's so many things that you have to prepare emotionally for, not just about the good times, but with things that you don't even know that you're going to bump into. And so that is something that we don't get into. So I want you to think about, these are the steps I would love for you to take. When you are thinking about moving, the first thing I want you to find out is, why are you moving? Why? Knowing your why. And this is an exercise we do with our clients, and we spend a lot of time doing that. Why do you want to move? What is drawing you? Where are you running towards, not running from? What are you imagining your new life to look like, right? So that is the why of it. And for most Black women, we also have to give ourselves permission that it is okay to leave our aging parents. It is okay to leave our adult children, that we deserve this. Because so many times we are still trying to get permission. We're still taking it to committee meeting, asking everybody, is it okay for us to move? Don't do that. Do not do that. You have to get it settled in you that it is okay to you move. And once you do that, you can move on to step 2. You know why you're moving, and you have given yourself permission that it is okay. Everybody else will sort themselves out. And I know you're the chief problem solver, but you're going to solve those problems from abroad. Don't stay for everybody else's issues. Only stay for yourself. So if you're ready to go, make that move. The other thing is, lock your income in. That's step number 2. Lock in your income. Know where your money's coming from. Know how often it's coming. Knowing how much is coming. Knowing if it's quarterly, annually, monthly, daily, or if it's something that happens, not consistently. Understand your income and understand what it is. And if you look in the links, you will see I have the Freedom Front checklist. It's all about understanding your income. Get that checklist and start working on that. The other thing is, I want you to choose your country based on a strategy, not on vibes. That's where we get, oh, I vibed. Oh, I went there, I felt so good. Oh, when I got there, oh, it was speaking to me. Oh, I felt like it was home. Well, that's nice, but I want you to think about healthcare. That's the strategy I want you to have. I want you to think about, hey, are these people going to be able to take care of my healthcare needs? We're getting older. And some of us are moving with pre-existing conditions. So that's the strategy. What are my healthcare needs? Is this country equipped to have them? And I have lived in some countries, and I'm telling you, I would not do any kind of serious medical care. Any surgeries I needed, I flew back home. Is that what you want to be doing? I live in a country now where I am happy to go into any clinic. I am happy to go into any hospital. So think about that. That's part of your strategy. And I also want you to think about where you're going to live in that country. So we had a client who was thinking about living in a particular place because she loved the weather, she loved the beach, she loved the environment, but she had a pre-existing medical condition. There were no hospitals in that area, and so therefore she had to now change her ideal of where she wanted to live so she could live closer to medical centers. That's what I'm talking about, being strategic with your move, not just going by vibes. Also think about, a lot of you have VA benefits. What countries take your VA benefits? That is something that you want to consider. If you're going to be on Medicare, what countries where you could be able to go and use your Medicare if you don't have good health insurance? And what countries where you could get health insurance? Then you also want to think about what countries will give you a strategic pathway to either citizenship or long-term residency. A lot of times, a lot of countries like, yeah, you can stay here for 18 months, but you got to go after that. So that's part of your strategy in thinking about moving. Another thing you want to think about is, if you don't have your income in your strategy, can I get work there? If I can't get work there, how am I going to work there? Does that country have stable internet? Yes, I have lived in countries where internet was not stable. I've lived in one country where they now had shut down all kinds of internet that was not like hardwired. So we used to have these little dongles that we stick into our laptops to get internet. They shut that down. I lived in a country where they shut down Facebook. So I'm telling you, you gotta be strategic and know where you are going. Don't go just by vibes. Check out your health care. Check out how long it's going to take you to get home. Is it going to take you 24 hours to get home and you have aging parents that you may need to run back to? Think about that. So these are the kind of things I want you to think about besides the vibe. That's cute, but let's really be really strategic in our thinking. And then I want you to kind of test it out a little bit. And when I say test it out, not land in that country and start bouncing around to all the parties, all the beaches, all the museum, all the historical sites. That doesn't give you an idea of what it looks like. When we take our clients on relocation tours, we give them what every single day looks like. We're like, this is how you're going to shop. This is what it looks like, go to the doctor, because that's what your life is going to look like. This is what it looks like if you decide that you ever want to eat out. We want to give them an entertainment perspective, but we also want to give you a everyday life perspective. And then we also want you to understand what the cost looks like. That's what you want to understand. What does everyday life look like? So go and figure that out. I get this question all the time around, should I stay in an Airbnb when I do my scouting trip? And I have, mixed emotions about that, because when you're in a hotel, and I would say this, it depends on how long you're staying in that country. If you're going a scouting trip or recon or relocation, whatever you want to call it, we call it an immersion experience because we immerse you into the experience. If you're doing one of those, if you stay for like a month or so, then yes, probably you want to do an Airbnb for part of that trip. I don't want you to do an Airbnb if you're just doing like 10 days, because you don't need to get caught up in all these Airbnb. Sometimes they're not up to full standard. And sometimes they don't really give you what really life would be like. So sometimes people think, oh, if I stay in an apartment, I would get what it looks like. Well, you may stay someplace where in an area where you may not want to live, or you may stay someplace where that particular building have issues that you may not have issues, or they don't have any of the issues and you may pick some place that does have issues and then you're so surprised. So I would say if you have a short trip, stay in a hotel. It allows you to really focus on all the other things without having to worry about any kind of Airbnb issues that will come up. If you're going to be there for a good minute, then go ahead and stay in an Airbnb. Find the area that you want to live in and stay in an Airbnb. So when I first landed, I stayed on this particular relocation, I stayed in an Airbnb. I stayed because I actually thought I was going to live there. I thought that was like, this is going to be home. It was on the golf course. That was going to be home for me. But it wasn't. And so I'm glad that I didn't make that a permanent home for me. And I didn't sign a lease immediately because I realized that it was too far away from the city. Some of my other moves, I moved straight into a house. I was like 2-year lease, sign. I moved straight into a house. Some of my other moves, I lived in like service apartments. I lived in service apartments, and then I've kind of moved around the city to different places. So each time I've kind of done it differently. And so just kind of think about how you can give yourself, that experience, but really make sure while you are getting familiar with the country, you are getting familiar with the lifestyle. And so that brings me to the last one, is create a timeline. I think when I hear from people, they say, oh, I'm leaving in 18 months, or I'm leaving in 12 months, or 2 to 3 years, or in 6 months. They don't really have a clear timeline. And a timeline looks like 9 to 12 months, I'm doing this. Then I'm doing this from 6 to 9 months. Then I'm doing this from 3 to 6 months. When you have a clear timeline, you know exactly what's happening in each step of the way, and you're holding yourself accountable. Or you're in a community like our collective where we are holding you accountable. And so where you have a roadmap that you're following. So think about how you are going to create a timeline for yourself. How are you going to create a timeline for yourself? Now, before I go on, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I don't ask you often. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, because we are going to be doing a lot of lives, and I don't want you to miss when we come on live where you can ask me all the questions that you want. We're going to be talking about Ask Me Anything. You won't know if you don't have that button clicked. So go ahead and click that button. So these are some of the things I want you to think about, those 5 steps. Make sure you're doing them. Yes, I know you're thinking about your country, your beach, your cost of living, all of that. That's great. But please, please be really solid on why you're leaving. Have yourself so locked down that you know why you're getting out of this place, and no one can convince you otherwise. Give yourself full permission. Women, we deserve it. We deserve to be in a place that is feeding your soul. Not only feeding your soul, but allowing your pocketbook to breathe. In a place that all it has that you move there strategically, because it not only makes your soul feel good, makes your pocketbook feel good, but it allows you to have a better life because you absolutely deserve it. Don't let anyone else tell you that you don't. You don't need to take this to committee for approval. You are the only person that needs to approve this move. I'm Saba Badaki, your bougie girlfriend. I want you to live an elevated life. It starts by understanding why you want to move. Until the next time, I'll see you then.